here, and I'm going to turn him into a mascot for Crafted Riches. So I'm going to give him 2 eyes. I'm going to show you how I do that. With every Crafted Riches pattern, I do my best to avoid anything that could be a choking hazard for little kids. So eyes are a big thing. I don't use safety eyes at all. It saves me money too, but it also keeps me from getting annoyed when my kids pull them out and then I have to find the backing in the fluffing. So we're going to make eyes how I do it. So take your yarn and put it through tapestry needle, kind of look at your project and figure out where you want the eyes to go. I will take my needle and go underneath, so insert in underneath, and I go about three rows worth, so 1, 2, 3, and I pop out there, and then I pull the tail all the way through. I leave it still connected to the cake or the ball of yarn that I'm using, and then I'll take that hook, the needle, and I'll come around the bottom again, and I just pop it through the same hole. And as I'm pulling it tight, I don't do it too tight because then it will pucker and pinch weird, but I try to leave it a little loose, and then I lay down the yarn where I want it to, and I loop it again, and I just keep doing this wrapping process until I'm satisfied with the thickness. And sometimes I catch a little bit of fluff when I'm doing this, and that's normal because it's in the way, it's inside the ball, so there's not much you can do about it. But yeah, I just keep going, wrap around, in and out the same holes, and helping not make it too tight. So that I can pull it and make it the shape I want it to be. And if you need to cinch it at all, you can pop it through. So I've now done it 4 times. I think I'll do it, jeez Louise, a couple more times. Okay, bring it around this side, so it'll be 6. Pound the hole again. Okay, so that's the last stitch that I want to do. It's got his little eyeball here. So now that we are out the other side, what I do is I come back through that same hole and try to push it through the stitch work that I've done to kind of give it something to hold on to, and pop it back out where it came in. And this part, again, you don't want to pull too tight or it's going to pinch. If you'll know you didn't catch the stitch work on the other side, like underneath, you'll know you didn't catch it because it will undo the stitch you just did. And I'm pulling on it and it's not coming undone. So I did it correctly. And then I take my tapestry needle and I kind of fluff this up. Then I pull it off my needle and I'll take the 2 ends, make a knot. That's not very tight here. This one's kind of a looser knot, and then when I go through it a second time, that's the one I pull tight. Could even do a third one for good measure. So 3 knots, the last 2 being the tightest. And then I take the 2 tails and I cut them. And I'll take my hook, insert it back into my project, come out that hole where we started, and take the tails and pull them into my project. And now he's got an eye. You can take your tapestry needle and kind of fluff it again. But there's one of his eyes. And it's a little, you just manipulate it enough that it looks cute. So go ahead and we'll do that again with another eye, and I'll see you at the end of that. Alrighty, so there's his little face. He's got 2 eyes now. I'm going to give him 2 cheeks underneath, so that I take my yarn I want to use, make a long tail of it, and instead of going vertically row to row, I'm doing stitch to stitch. So I will come enter in here and pop out 2 stitches on the other side and do the same process. So wrapping around, I'll wrap around 6 times, pulling that tail every time. Okay, 1, 2, 3. That's how many we've got so far. Help it lay as you stitch it. Okay, that's 4. And 1 more. Okay. And like before, we're going to come back through the hole we just did, but we're going to try and catch the stitches underneath so that it gets stuck in there and gives us some resistance. Again, you'll know if you did it correctly because it will not undo that last stitch you just did. Okay, and I'm tugging on it and we're good. So then you take the 2 ends. I'll pop my needle off, take the 2 ends. Oh my. And we'll make a little knot. And this one is a loose knot. And then the second one will be tight. And then do a third one for good measure. And pull that one the tightest. Okay, take your yarn tails, cut them, and then take your hook, come out the hole that they were hanging out in, and wrap around. And pull it through without pulling all the way through, obviously, because that's not good. And shove it in if you got to. And then take your tapestry needle and fluff it up. And there's one cheek. Come back for the last one. Alright, his other cheek is done. Now I'm going to give him a little smile. So I'm going to use It's known as a back stitch to do this. So I'm going to come in right here, go under one stitch, and leave that tail hanging out. Back stitch meaning that you go back into where you came from and then pop out in the next place you want to go. So I went in that hole and came back through it. Now I'm in this stitch. I went out this hole. I'm going to go back in it. Then I'm going to pop out the next hole. And since I went in there and popped out there, I'm going to go in where I just came from. And then you're going to pop your needle back out where you started. Finish off this little smile. That stuffing off of it. And if you lose a stitch because you pulled too tight, you can always pop your needle through and put it back. He's got his little smile here. We're good to tie it off. So we're going to do a loose knot for the first one, and then a tight for the second, and a really tight for the third. Give it similar tail length. Then we'll insert our hook, pop it out, and grab it, and weave it back into the body like that. And we'll make it pretty. But there he is. So he's got his eyes, his little mouth. I'm going to fluff up just a little bit. And his little cheeks.